And here we go. Oh, yeah, we need an audio stream too. There we go. And let's record audio also.
May I see my,
Your shot?
yeah, just so I can...
There's Heidi Cook.
Okay, that's good. I'm good
You
with
happy
that.
with that?
Yep.
And there's our room. And there's Josh. There's the chat room. And there's the web browser. And there's me. And we're ready to do a show. I swear, someone comes in here and changes things. I'm serious.
I know.
It looks different every time. And I've got a soundboard ready to go this time because I have my little sound for when we're...
For winners.
I don't know. I think that's a segment.
We've been frantically trying to reach you, dude.
A segment opener.
Quite proud of that up there.
Yeah, I don't want to draw attention to it.
Yeah.
Undue attention. See, and the way that I'm sitting now, we could put something in the middle.
Yeah.
Want to draw something in the middle?
And
Really
just
quick?
write like episode, was it 7?
I can write it.
You can write that.
I'll write
They're right
episode.
there.
I'll write episode 7.
Use the broadside. Yeah.
Which side? The broad.
Use the broad. Don't write with the tip.
Don't write with the tip. Write with the broad side.
Yeah. It just makes it a little bit clearer.
Fun.
Uh-huh. I know, isn't
I
it?
just knocked Batman and Godzilla down. I'm back here. Alexa, what time is it?
It's 3:51.
All right, we're late.
Just a little bit.
7?
I think that's right.
All right. How's that look?
I think it looks great.
Aer Lingus. For what it's worth, I consider Aer Lingus to be a bad word. If you say
a
Aer
bad word?
Lingus here, that's one demerit.
Did you set up the shortcut for markers yet?
No, I have to look up how to do that.
Oh.
I don't
The good news is you're fired.
see how that works. Yeah, I don't remember how to do that. That's fine. Are you ready? You ready to do a
I-
show here?
I'm ready. I'm prepared.
And Josh, I think, is going to be... You have him already, right?
Yes, he is online and
Oh,
ready.
good. He's a smart man. And thorough. I have that
I know.
one on here
Play that
somewhere.
one.
He's a good man and thorough.
All right. Make that a little... See, I can't wait till I got to talk about those screens that I'm getting. Because all this is nonsense. All right, I'm ready to do it. Are you ready to do it?
I'm ready.
It's warm in here, though.
It is a little warm.
But then remember the HVAC. We'll talk about that on the
Oh,
show.
right. I guess I
Does
don't...
that 7 look lonely? Should I put a circle around it or something? It looks a little lonely.
Yeah, you could underline it or box it or something.
Underline. I'll box it. I'll box it in blue.
Ooh.
Does blue work?
Yeah, the blue. See, I made his pants blue. That looks nice.
Thank you. It's not my first time drawing a box. Does that look better?
That looks nice. Yeah, not so
that's fine.
sad.
That's fine. Not as sad. Still sad, but not as sad.
Not as sad.
Teacup pigs. Teacup pigs. All right. All right, I'm ready to get started.
I'm sending you
Are you ready?
the...
I'm not on chat. I deal in paper in this room. I deal with paper.
Well, then let me print this.
All right, you can print it while we do the show.
Okay.
Because I don't deal in paper. All right, Tuesday, March 10th. Don't know why it does that, but that's fine. It's good. All's good. All's well that ends well, as they say. This is the Dan Benjamin Hour for Tuesday, March 10th, 2015. I am Dan Benjamin, and a lot of news that has come out over the last 24 hours post-Apple event. I told you that we're not going to be talking about the Apple Watch here on the show. So don't worry about that. I didn't say we wouldn't be talking about the new so-called MacBook. I almost got you in a yawn, Hattie.
You'll never, ever catch me.
Almost got you in a yawn. But we're not, I'm not, there's not that much to say. I talked with Merlin Mann, co-host of the Back to Work program, right here on 5x5, where he and I spent some time in today's After Dark. Hattie, could you put the After Dark into the show notes? We talk a little bit about the MacBook, not the Pro, but just the new MacBook, middle of the line, they say. I don't want to get into it here. People have heard enough about it. But if you're curious about it, you can listen to that episode of After Dark. The show notes for this show are at 5x5.tv/dbh/7. I'm done. I basically, last night, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, Hattie, but I finished the dbh.fm website.
You finished it.
I got the feed working. I got everything else working. And it's great. It's one of the best sites I've ever built in my whole life. And I built it in WordPress for reasons that will soon become apparent. So that's it. That's enough about that. People are asking, though, about the changing setup of this room.
Constantly changing.
Constantly changing. And somebody else today said in Twitter, he was very respectful about it. I appreciate that. But he said that I was cutting off my co-host.
Oh, right.
On the show, that I interrupted and cut off my co-host. And I was quick to point out that I do not have a co-host on this show. This is my show. You are a member of the crew.
Yep.
And as such...
I need to get one of those shirts with the say crew.
Yeah.
I guess not on the back since no one would ever see that.
Yeah,
but
you'd have to get it.
Like
a hat. You know,
yeah, a hat. Can we get crew hats?
And there will be more crew members as we increase our seating capacity in this room. The other crew members will be joining us here in this room. And you'll so stay tuned to see who the rest of the crew will be. But Hattie does host her own show. It's called The Frequency, which is fairly infrequent now, but she's still her show. So if you want more of her and you want to hear her not get interrupted, you can go to that show. And if you don't care about her getting interrupted, you're welcome to stay here and hang out, which is what I told the guy.
Yeah.
You talk too much already. Please don't talk anymore. Thank you. I get a lot of interesting news, though, and a bunch of things I wanted to talk about. In particular, our big story today that I want to talk about is this CIA campaign to steal Apple's secrets. Have you heard about this? Have you heard any?
I have not.
This is the big news right now, and we're gonna get into it in a minute with a special guest. I got Josh Centers from Tidbits, among other places, he knows quite a bit about this kind of thing. He will be joining us today to talk about that. But we've got a bunch to cover before that. And, one of the things that I've been thinking a lot way up here in the ivory tower is what it would be like to be a true celebrity. Did you know any true celebrities? Have you ever met a true celebrity? I think you have through your uncle. Uncle Dose.
Yes. I'm trying to think. True celebrities. I'm blanking right now. I saw Will Ferrell.
You saw Will Ferrell, but I
once.
know that through your uncle you met a famous guitarist by the name of Eric. What's his last name? Guitarist Eric, famous guitarist.
Oh,
Johnson.
yes.
Alexa, who is Eric Johnson?
Eric Johnson is an American guitarist, songwriter, and vocalist from Austin, Texas.
There you go.
Yeah, and he's worked with your uncle, Uncle Dose.
Yep.
And I don't really know any celebrities, but I do know that celebrities they get kind of weird. Once they get a lot of money, they get a lot of time on their hands, they start doing really weird things. And I consider flying. I mean, I know flying is like it's safer than driving. They say it's much safer than driving. Did you know that?
Yes.
Riding in a car is not as safe as flying in a plane.
Right. The likelihood of something happening is much more likely in your car than an airplane. And I believe that.
Is that because the number of there's more cars?
Right. There's less drivers. That means...
So that doesn't really... See, this is the kind of thing I really wonder about. Does it really mean it's safer? I don't feel like it's safer. If you made there to be the same number of airplanes, we got to get Ryan on here.
But if you think about...
Make a note to get Ryan on here.
Get Ryan.
Ryan, I think Ryan McBride, is that his name?
I will write.
Take a letter and get Ryan McBride on, and we'll schedule him for later this week. He's a pilot. He's the one that's going to take me up in the Cessna or something up and let me fly it.
Yes.
Did I tell you about that? That I'm going to see what celebrity, as my celebrity grows through this show, I get offers to go fly a plane. Well, we all know that Harrison Ford took his plane out and he clipped a tree. That's what's saying. So his engine failed, and maybe he would have been all right doing a landing on the golf course or wherever he landed. However, the plane, which was built in 1942, just like him, collided into a tree or clipped a tree. And that's partially what resulted in his injuries. And all they're saying, he did land on a golf course. And here's what they say. They say that he was bloodied, battered, and briefly was knocked unconscious. And he reportedly sustained a broken pelvis and broken ankle. Not good injuries to have. It's certainly not if you're, in your early 70s. He looks good for his early 70s. But he's in condition. He's expected to recover. So you were going to draw a picture of Han Solo up on the blackboard.
Yes, but then
you said, so Hattie said, Hattie, the blackboard behind me looks very empty. And she said, what do you want me to draw? I said, draw Han Solo, Harrison Ford.
Well, you said draw the plane and have him in
Harrison Ford in the plane.
I didn't know how to, with such not fine tip markers, try and make him look like Harrison Ford. I'm not good at drawing people.
Well, I think you're great at so the first person who's watching with video. Did you tweet the show, Hattie?
Did I? No.
Well, this is your job. This is what you're here for. You're producing the show.
I'm trying to deal with another producing issue right now.
What show is the number one show on the internet?
It's to do with this show.
Well, I don't know anything about that.
Well, don't worry. I got it covered.
Did you tweet the show?
I will tweet the show.
Because all I see up here is back to work. See, even Josh Centers is tweeting the show. He's not even on the show. He doesn't even know when he's going to be on it. Please tweet the show.
It is tweeted out now.
All right, thank you. Maybe now some people will listen to it because the first person you have to tweet me. I'm at Dan Benjamin. The first person to correctly identify Hattie's drawing and what it is a drawing of, be very specific. The first person to do that will win. I don't know what they'll win, but they will win.
What will they win?
What will they win? We'll send them a Bacon Method magnet. Could you go retrieve some of the Bacon Method, Hattie? Please go and get the Bacon Method magnets. And so we can show those off. That's what you will win. And I should probably tweet that out. I'll say the first person. How about we'll do this on the air? Why not? The first person to correctly identify Hattie's drawing, right, will win. Will win. So I'm gonna have to edit this the audio on this part because it's too boring. And of course, someone comes in here and changes everything. I'll put a little marker. I can't type and speak at the same time. And now I got to put the URL in. All right. Good enough. So, you people who are watching this on the video, this is what I talk about behind the scenes. You're seeing it as it happens. Anyway. So Harrison Ford is going to make a fine recovery. Very happy to hear that. We got to keep him healthy. Zoolander 2, which I know everybody has been eagerly awaiting, just like me, has an actual date. It will hit theaters in about a year, February 12th, 2016. If you haven't seen the first Zoolander, it's a hilarious movie. Have you seen the? Well, there she is with a shirt.
Hi.
Have you seen the first Zoolander movie?
I have, yes.
Great movie, right? Well, they're making a second one, and it's going to hit theaters February 12th, 2016. Hattie's holding up, if you're watching at home, Bacon Method, a mug and magnets, and I think you even have a T-shirt there that can be displayed. These are some things we'll be giving away to people, and the first giveaway happens today. You're going to get one of those little magnets, which contains the Bacon Method, the way to make perfect bacon. The first person who correctly tweets what Hattie's drawn behind me. Anyway, Zoolander 2, it's come out. Now, what's funny about this is they actually went and were at a Paris fashion show. And they sort of stormed the fashion show, walked up and down, did their little thing walking around to, I guess, to sort of announce and promote. And that's one of the things that I think is kind of interesting is I feel like this show could be the perfect venue for people in the tech space to come and promote the stuff that they're working on. It seems genius, right? If you work in Hollywood, you're doing movies, you're doing TV, you get a new show coming out, right? You get a new movie coming out. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? You're going to go on Letterman. You're going to go on The Tonight Show. You're going to go on, you're going to go somewhere, right? That's going to help you promote the show. I feel like if you have a new website, new app, we're going to become the place to go. We're going to be the late show of daytime for tech. I think that's how we're going to build from now on. But yeah, I mean, it was Derek Zoolander and Hansel. They were there at Fashion Week. I think we have a little video. There it is. There's a little Vine. How do you like Vine a lot?
I do.
This is a little Vine of Derek Zoolander in character walking the Parisian runway. It's very exciting stuff. This is what I think people tune in for. Now we got to talk about another big piece of news. GigaOM shut down. Very surprising. I remember seeing this last night while I was watching The Bachelor, which I want to also talk about. I didn't put any links to The Bachelor stuff in the notes. But GigaOM is winding. This is what Om Malik says. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. Om Malik. Very, very, very smart guy.
That's your name, dude.
And thank you, Hattie. And he is a long time writer and business person in technology. Super, super smart. So it's a bummer that this site that he started and built is now essentially going away. It's not really clear exactly what's happening with it. Here's what he writes. He says, GigaOM is wine. Oh, and by the way, he left the company, and I guess went into work in a venture company, and perhaps the venture company is the one that owns GigaOM. I don't even know. It's not important. He was not there in the day-to-day anymore. He announced his retirement a while ago. And here's what he writes. GigaOM is winding down, and its assets are now controlled by the company's lenders. It is not how you want the story of a company you founded to end. Every founder starts on a path, hopeful and optimistic, full of desire to build something that helps change the world for the better, reshape an industry, and hopefully become independent, both metaphorically and financially. Business, much like life, is not a movie, and not everyone gets to have a storybook ending. He continues, he says, I'll write more about this in the future, but that's it. Good night. Out. And this is a bummer, because a lot of people like me fondly remember GigaOM as being a place that really covered news. But you know what? Over the last, I guess, year, I haven't really found a lot of news there that I thought that I wanted to go and read. And it didn't seem like they were breaking stories or doing that much to put themselves as a source, as a news source. And there's a big difference. And I know you've noticed this.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference in having a news story and actually creating the news story. What I'm doing right here, right now, is I'm sharing some news with people I think is interesting, is worth talking about. But, we're not scooping this.
No.
We're just reporting it because it's interesting to us. And I feel almost like that's what GigaOM had become. Instead of writing really insightful pieces, they had kind of resorted to just doing what all the other tech news sites out there are doing. And I don't want to be, what? If you want to, Hattie, I'll tell you what. If you want a news show that's great, a great news show, Tom Merritt's Daily Tech News Show, DTNS, you can't find a better news show than that. DTNS, Daily Tech News Show with Tom Merritt. Tune into that thing. Tom has got this, the news in tech cornered. And he's a good friend. He does great work over there. Go check that out. if you're looking for news. If you want the kind of stuff that we do here, it's a different thing. But I think GigaOM went off the rails. Who knows? I'm not going to be talking about the Apple Watch, Hetty.
No.
And I also won't be mentioning that it has 8 gigs of storage. It allows for 2 gigs of music storage and 75 megabytes of photos. 75 megabytes of photos is not that much. An average photo is going to be a couple megs in size, so it's not that much. But it will have 8 gigs of storage. But there are these limitations. You can't use all 8 gigs for one thing. And here's something else that's interesting to note. The Sport, Watch, and Edition all have the same 8 gigabyte capacity. Well, you don't need that much storage because these things hook up very easily to your iPhone. But there are times when you're not going to have it and you want to you're working out, you want to just have the watch so you can stream it untethered to your Bluetooth headphones, I guess, or something. But you do have music right there on your phone. So that's exciting, right? I mean, a thrill a minute. You can't stop talking about the watch that you're going to get. Did you pick out the one that you want?
I don't think I'm going to be getting one.
You're not going to get one?
No.
I think we need to, like I said yesterday, we're going to get one here just to have in the studio so we can look at it.
It'll be 5x5's watch.
Yeah. And last thing I won't say about the Apple Watch is that the battery is replaceable. Interesting, huh? You can replace the battery.
I like that.
You max one of these things out, they're going to top out at $17,000. $17,000 to get one of these. I'm not going to be getting that one. I will get the cheapest, most basic one just so that I can see what it's all about. Android Wear, Google, not to be outdone. They're getting Wi-Fi support and gesture control in the next software release. So anything using Android Wear that's staying up to date, you'll be able to get that. Pretty cool. I mean, I'm thrilled. I'm still not going to be getting it. So a whole bunch of people have emailed me about, I do not know how to say this, Hattie. You went to France. How do you say this? Withings? Withings? Chat room, help me out. How do you pronounce
say
it?
Withings.
Withings? Active?
Yeah, the chat room's really going to have to help us out on this.
All right, I don't know. But anyway, this is a wonderful watch. It's a Swiss-made watch that is designed in Paris. It's made in Switzerland. And it is a beautiful, elegant, traditional watch, but it has a little bit more because it has some health tracking stuff built into it. It also monitors your sleep so that while you're sleeping, it keeps track of that. It's 5 atmospheres water resistant. And we just got some news today that the device I will not be talking about is not intended to be submerged. Did you know this? It's not intended to be submerged. You're not supposed, you can get your Apple Watch wet.
Like if you're walking in the rain.
Walking in the rain. Title. You can get it, you can get it wet, but you can't actually, it's not designed to be submerged. This thing, you can go swim with this thing. And in fact, it has something called swim recognition, and I guess it'll track all of that. There's no cable, no dock. It has a regular battery life that exceeds 8 months. And there's a tool that they give you. You replace the battery yourself. You don't have to take it anywhere. So you get 8 months with this little thing. Now, what it doesn't do like notifications and things like that. So it doesn't, like, it's not going to, give you a notification if you get a text or something. But if you just want a watch that's an elegant, beautiful watch that tracks your sleep and helps you, monitor your health, it's 390 euros. Hattie, how much is that in U.S. numbers?
Oh my gosh, I can look that up.
Alexa, how much is 390 euros in dollars?
390 euros is $418.78.
Thank you.
She beat me.
Yeah. Oh, let me do a spot. Let me do a sponsorship. What do you think of that? 5-4 Club. I told you about these guys before, and they keep coming back for more. Let me make this simple. And I'm just going to make this simple today. I'm just going to run through this. Because the people are here, they're hearing about it. I feel like they're getting excited about this. as they should be. It's for men. It's clothing for men. And most guys, we don't like to shop that much. I don't know. Women like to shop. That's a generalization. Men don't like to shop. That's a generalization. Well, most men hate it, to be honest. 5-4 Club exists for these men who still want to look fashionable. They still want to look good, and they still want some new clothes. But they don't want to have to go out and do all the shopping and stand in lines and try stuff on. You go to, the URL is get54.com. You go to get54.com, and there's like a 60-second profile where you pick your, like, they show you some shirts, and you say, which shirt do you like? You click the one you like. Which pants do you like? Or jeans? You click the jeans that you like. That's basically all they do. They ask you a few questions. And do you need to dress up for work? Or do you want casual? What do you want to do? You tell them, they create a profile, and then one of their human beings will custom curate clothing that they make and sell. And they cut out the middleman. No middleman. And they send you every month $120 worth of clothing. But here's the thing. Hattie, you don't pay $120.
Nope.
You pay $60. And you get $120 worth of great clothing. I keep talking about this bomber jacket. Tomorrow, if it's cold enough, I will wear my bomber jacket for the show. Oh man, I almost got you yawning. I put her to sleep.
Yep.
If you want something that helps you fall asleep, I guess listen to this show. That's what Addie's trying to say. Get54.com. And I'll save you $20. That's a lot of money. $20. Use the code DAN20OFF, 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 and you will get $20 off that first box. Get54.com. And I think we have a winner, Hattie.
We do?
Let's see if you got this right.
Okay.
Miles Teller playing Caravan in Whiplash.
I think that's correct.
That is correct. So Trevor Hayward, Hey Hayward on Twitter, congratulations. And hold on, I have a little sound effect for him. He wins. Hattie, show what he's won. So email Dan at 5x5.tv and your address, and we will send that out to you. Hopefully you're in the U.S. Hattie, do you know about this scam called Teacup Pigs?
I didn't know it was a scam until you told me.
These things look really cute if you're watching at home. Hattie, for those who are not watching at home, could you please describe
And they look beautiful.
what we are looking at?
They are three little pigs. They are probably three little pigs. They are probably the size of a large kitten is how I would describe them. They are adorable, and they have the pinkest little noses, little pig noses, and they're meant to be, or so they say, they're meant to be very, very tiny and stay that small throughout their whole life.
Almost small enough to fit in a teacup.
Correct.
Yeah. The scam is that they're actually usually not actually teacup pigs. They're not actually small pigs in the sense that they will stay small. They're small because they're very, very young. In the same way that a human baby is a small human, you know that the baby will eventually get bigger and become an adult. The same thing actually happens to these pigs. So, Hattie, again, I would like for you to describe what we are looking at right now.
This is a picture of Paris Hilton with her teacup pig. I do not know the name of her teacup pig, but I'm sure it's Prince or
it's.
King
I believe
or
it's
something.
Princess Piglet.
Princess Piglet.
Yeah. And that's what the teacup pig that she got famously looked like. What does it look like?
It's black and white. It has a little white
It's
face.
little.
It's very small. Yeah.
And Paris herself is a small woman.
yes. So
And the pig is therefore very small. Would you agree?
yes.
That was when she got it. Would you like to
Uh-huh.
see what the pig looks like now?
Yes, I would love to.
That's what the pig looks like now. Can you please describe?
First of all, I think it weighs more than she does.
Oh, for sure it weighs more than. She probably weighs 100 pounds.
And she has her arm around it, and it's like a giant dog
It's huge.
slash cow.
It's
It's
huge.
huge. It's
Yeah.
giant.
So what happens is these things grow up, people. They're just little tiny pigs. And they say, oh, you don't want to feed your little teacup pig too much. You don't want to feed it too much. You just want to give it just a tiny little bit of food. Well, that's what the people who sell you these things do, because then it starves the pigs, it stunts their growth, and they develop all kinds of problems. So if you don't want this giant pig, then don't get a teacup pig. They're not real. There's only very few actual teacup pigs
In the world.
in the whole world. There's very few.
They're probably very expensive too.
Yeah,
They have to be like
You're not going to
purebred.
find one in your town, any town USA. You're not going to find one. They're not there. Anyway, Trevor won. I think it's a great drawing you put up there, Hattie. Are you going to do one every day?
You have to give me a heads up.
Well, here's your heads up. Anyway. So let's get Josh on here, because this is time for our big story.
Big
Can you get
time.
Josh on the line?
Yep.
And while you get him on the line, let me do. I'll bring him on, then I'll do the spot after he's on. I'll make him sit through it.
Josh.
Hey.
Hi,
Hey, guys.
Josh. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on again.
So for those who don't know who Josh is a very talented writer and contributor, primarily over at tidbits.com. Is that right?
Yes.
And you write primarily about Mac and Apple and iOS, but your interests range beyond that. You're also a gamer, and you have an amazing beard.
Well, thank you.
Okay, but I've got you pegged now. Now, before the show, I pinged you, and I said, hey, can you come on and talk about this? Is this CIA thing as big of a deal as it seems? You're like, yeah. And if you haven't heard this in the news today, the quick summary of it, and then Josh is going to break this down for us, but the quick summary of it is the CIA has had this campaign to steal, essentially, the title of most of the articles say, is the CIA is trying to steal Apple's secrets. But it's worse than that, because they're trying to steal developers' secrets as well. And this is a big deal. So maybe you can dive in a little bit and explain to me why exactly this is a big deal and what's really going on here.
Okay. Well, specifically, they're trying to find ways to plant exploits in Apple devices. And they're doing this a few different ways. One way is by creating a modified version of Xcode, which, as I'm sure all your listeners know, is what's used to develop software for the Mac and for iOS. So one way they've tried to infiltrate user systems is to create this modified version of Xcode that presumably they could distribute to a targeted developer, and they could plant their own, basically do whatever they want with the app, and in effect take control of a device through that app. Some other things they've tried to do include they've been very interested in finding the encryption keys for devices, specifically the group ID, which is shared between Apple, the systems on a chip, such as the A4, A5, A6, and so on. Each one of those has its own unique GID. And that's for all devices. So, for instance, all iPhone 4s have the same GID.
Right.
Just like all iPhone 6s have the same one, and so on. And they've gone to some interesting methods to try to extract those. One of those uses what's called VANEC phreaking, which essentially they would be monitoring the electromagnetic emissions from a device as it's encrypting data to try to figure out what the key is. So they're using some very sophisticated methods to do this. And the broader implications, the main one, of course, being that the CIA is effectively working against an American company. The other, rather disturbing...
Right, like it's okay if it's not an American company. Then we don't really have to care, right? But the fact that it's America's biggest company and the world's biggest company, and a company that has a really strong history of caring about its users and of doing as much as it can to create systems that are, I don't want to say, that are not vulnerable to, but that are as protected as possible, as secure as possible. Apple having a much better track record than Windows, with security and viruses, and the same thing, iOS having a much better track record than Android with malware. And now here we find out that the CIA, who's supposed to be watching out for us, our friends, our good friends over at the CIA, protecting us from, awful espionage across the world, is actually conducting the same thing right here with one of our most beloved companies.
Right. I mean, I sort of see why they're doing it. I mean, I guess presumably some sort of bad guy could be using an iPhone and using the encryption on the iPhone to plan something nefarious. But the bigger problem, outside of any kind of philosophical thing, is, what if members of these CIA groups go rogue, or what if these the ways to do this stuff leak out, or they're discovered by other groups, and suddenly everyone's Apple devices are compromised. So, as they try to install, and we already know the NSA and CIA have worked to weaken encryption standards. So you combine it with what they're trying to do here and installing exploits on Apple devices, and it could cause a lot of security problems, for everyone, good or bad.
So is this something that we need to be actively concerned about? Because from what I read here in the articles that I've researched this on, they said that this does not appear to have happened in the wild. These versions of Xcode that they've written, which contain keyloggers, they modify and essentially install backdoors into applications, that apparently this hasn't been used. And the question that I have is, you would think that developers would be a little more cautious even than non-developers, that is to say regular consumers and regular users, about software that they install. And it doesn't sound like this version of Xcode, which is, if my understanding is correct, this is how they're getting it out there, right? That this version of Xcode hasn't been in the wild. It's not, because developers are only downloading it from Apple's developer site, which the CIA, as far as we know, hasn't hacked and inserted their own downloadable executables without Apple knowing about it. So this isn't actually out there, but we know now that they're doing this. And apparently, I mean, so to quote this article, the one is on firstlook.org. The Intercept is what it's called. Under current U.S. regulations, law enforcement agencies can get a court order to access communications channeled through major tech companies and wireless providers, but if those communications are encrypted, then the data is essentially meaningless. So the quote is, in a world in which data is encrypted and the providers don't have the keys, suddenly there is no one to go to when they have a warrant. That is, even if they get a court order, it doesn't help them. This is what is freaking them out. So CIA is trying to say that this is a response to that. That doesn't really make sense to me. That doesn't seem like what they're doing at all.
Right. Well, they don't like anything they can't see.
Yeah.
And I sort of understand why. In terms of how this applies to the average user, probably no more than any of the other Edward Snowden revelations have. As our security editor, Rich Mogul, has told me before, if they want something, they're probably going to get it. So, anything you wouldn't want the NSA or CIA or whoever to see, I probably just wouldn't do it on a computer. As a matter of fact, that's what Russia and even some U.S. police departments have started using typewriters. And so if you don't want them spying on it, use a typewriter.
I mean, that's just crazy to me because, obviously the way I've always felt about it, and maybe this is different for people who came up when the internet was new. If you write a letter to your great aunt and you send this letter to her over the postal mail, you're at least under the impression that the United States Postal Office isn't going to open up that envelope and read that letter, that you shared this private information with your aunt. They're not allowed to do that. They're not going to do that. When email first came out, there were so few people on the internet anyway that you didn't even think about it. You didn't even care. But I think there's a great philosophy, and the philosophy is if you're doing anything online, whether it's emails or messaging or whatever, the advice that I've always been given from security experts are treat everything as if it might one day become public. I mean, look at all the stuff that we've seen recently from Sony with the North Korean situation with The Interview, the movie, where all of those emails were exposed and released. It happens time and time again, and you never really know, especially if it's like something for work. If you're a work computer, you never really know what the future of that email that you're typing up and sending is. And we know from Google's a giant archive folder that everything stays in there forever. It never goes away. It really, you can delete it, but is it really deleted? Not really. It's never really deleted. So, be careful what you send. I think a typewriter is kind of extreme, and most of us don't need to worry that much about the kind of data that we're storing. You might send an angry email to a coworker that you wish wouldn't be there anymore or something like that, right? But we're not sharing a lot of secrets. I think the average human isn't sharing, and they might share some personal secrets, but they're not sharing secrets that the CIA would want, so is your advice can't possibly be to use a typewriter, right? I mean, that's insane. But what are we supposed to do? What do we do?
Really, there's not much you can do. Probably the best thing that could happen is for Apple to sue the government. And that's something in the article a representative from the ACLU is hoping will happen. I don't know if it will. Apple does, after all, do business with the government. And the government, for instance, the federal government will be taking Apple Pay sometime this year. So that may not be something Apple wants to pursue. Really politically, means are in the long run are probably the best way to combat this, but I'm not sure there's enough political willpower to do anything about this.
Carlos Danger NY in the chat room says plenty of personal and business information could be used against any normal Joe. And I mean,
Absolutely.
That's a point is that who knows what's in your email. How can we trust these companies? How can we trust whether it's Apple or Google or whoever? How can we trust that they'll protect us if the time comes where we really, really, truly need them to? Apple's been very outspoken about the fact that, hey, if it's encrypted, it's encrypted. We can't do anything about it. We can't unencrypt it. If your computer, if you encrypt your computer, if you encrypt your data on your iPhone, like, we can't get to it either. It's up to the individual user, and in a way, they can kind of put their hands up and say, "Nothing we can do. Don't come to us. We can't unlock it." That's the concern here, that the CIA and probably a lot of other places are saying, "Well, we don't like that, because if there is a serious risk, if there is a terrorist on our soil or something like that, they want to be able to go and get the data out that they need." I've heard time and time again, we've heard people from the NSA and elsewhere saying, yeah, pretty much, if you want to be secure and you don't want anyone looking at your stuff, like, get a Mac. I remember that specific quote. Do you remember that? I'm forgetting where that came from.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
But but I don't know. I don't really like that the CIA is doing this, and I think a lot of people are fairly upset about it. Should we not be upset about it? Should we just be all right with it?
Oh, I'm pissed. But it's one of those things. I've covered this for so long now, and there's been so little action, effective action, that I guess I'm sort of cynical about it. But yeah, I'm absolutely livid. But it's no different from the things we already knew they could do. We already knew they could, activate the webcam on your device or a microphone on your device. This isn't really that surprising to me, unfortunately.
Well, listen, thanks very much for being here and for breaking this down. It sounds like your kids want you to go play.
They're upset about it too.
So you can follow Josh. You're Jay Centers on Twitter. Is that right?
Yes.
Jay Centers. So you can follow Josh, Jay Centers, on Twitter. He's a wonderful person to get to know and to follow. And you can, of course, read his writing over at the fantastic Tidbits website, writing about Apple for 24, almost 25 years now, right?
Almost 25, yeah.
And you've been doing it since you were first born over there.
Exactly.
Writing there. So go check that out. And thanks again, Josh, for being here. You're a fantastic guest as always. Thanks.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
Bye. So anyway, he's upset about it. I think we should all be a little bit upset about it. The question at the end of the day is, what can we really do? The answer is we can't. There's not really that much that we can do. We're kind of stuck. The only thing you can really do is stop using electronic devices, like you were saying. Use a typewriter. I'm not prepared to start using a typewriter instead, but the other option is just don't say anything that you wouldn't want the whole world to see. If you're writing an email and you think, what if the whole world read this email that I'm writing right now?
Right. If they
Would you
broadcast
be
this
okay
on
with that?
CNN.
Yeah. If they opened up your email and looked at your email right now, Hattie, would there be anything that would jump out that you'd be like, well, I really don't want that on CNN? It's a lot of sponsor emails, right?
Our sponsor pricing, but
Right.
like, that's pretty much it.
You know, like, and honestly, that sucks that that's the way that it has to be. But you know, you've got to be aware of this stuff. You've got to be thinking about who could get access to something, and what does that potentially mean for me as a person, for the company that I work for the security of the company that I work for.
My mom always said, if you don't want anyone to know a secret, don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Because everyone will tell your secret.
Good advice. It is very good advice. They're saying in the chat room that the best way to keep safe, the solution, would be to talk almost exclusively about teacup pigs.
It's true.
In your email. I want to tell you guys about Casper. Better sleep for brighter days. Man, you know, Casper mattresses, I've told you before, they send us one and they're really, really quite comfortable. They make a hybrid mattress, it means it's 50% human DNA, 50% alien DNA. And that's how they make one of these things.
That's why it's so comfortable.
They let you try them for 100 nights. Why try a bed for 10 minutes in a store when you can try a Casper mattress for 100 nights with no risk? Why? They send it to you in this little box. And people have been asking me about this. You take the box, you open the box, and inside the mattress is it's rolled up in there. It's curled
like
up on itself like a burrito, and there's a plastic cocoon around it.
Mm-hmm.
And they send you a letter opener, essentially the kind that you would use to just open the envelope. And they send you one of those that has a Casper logo on it. Do we have that, Hattie? Could you go find that?
It might take me a little
All
while.
right. I'll
think
see you
it's
when
very
you get
deep
back.
away.
And you use that, you cut the thing open, and it just all by itself, it unfurls. Now, the interesting thing about this is that it's lighter. I found that the Casper mattress is lighter than other mattresses of its same size and shape. Like if you're going to go get a traditional mattress, if you call it that, a non-Casper hybrid mattress, it's easier for a single human to move around, but you're not giving up any of the comfort. You're not giving up anything, but it makes it easier to move around on your own. You know, Hattie, there's no shame. I've been telling people this for a while. There's no shame in being single.
No. There's
nothing wrong with that.
No.
You can go to a coffee shop, sit at the table by yourself, drink a coffee. I don't care. I don't judge you. I don't care what you do. You know what I'm saying? You want to eat dinner out alone? Eat dinner out alone. Go to a fancy restaurant. And you know what? Order a bottle of champagne just for you. I mean, don't drive if you drink the whole thing.
Treat yourself.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. There's no shame in that. Don't see a movie by yourself. And then you know what? Come home and sleep on your $500 twin size Casper. That's right, $500. Have you ever priced mattresses? $500 is all it costs to get into a twin. $750 full, $850 queen, $950 for a king. You're going to you walk into one of these stores, you lay on the thing that everybody else is laid on.
Ugh.
Tell me about it. You lay on that nasty thing for 10 seconds. You're supposed to make a $2,000 decision. No, I say take 100 days. And the URL to use is Casper.com/Dan sent me. Casper.com. Casper.com/Dan sent me. We'll get you $50 off any purchase of a mattress. Again, that URL is Casper.com/Dan sent me for $50 off. They are great, though. They really are great. And I want an excuse to get one. I'm looking for a reason to get one of these things. Get a king size to replace a mattress I have now.
Take the couch out of your house and just put a mattress down.
I like the name Casper.
Me too.
Anyway, so that's all I've got about Casper and about that. Now, there's one other thing I want to talk about today. How are we doing on time? Wow.
I know.
We're going to make it in an hour today.
I know
Hattie.
we are. I'm very proud of us.
My goodness. This is something really cool, Hattie. You have not seen this. Speaking about going rogue. I'm a huge fan of the Roadrunner cartoons.
Oh, me too.
Have you ever heard about the Roadrunner rules?
Oh, like of the world?
Yeah.
Like
so,
gravity and stuff?
So there is the rules. There are 9 rules that every Roadrunner cartoon had to follow. Apparently, the rules were broken
A
at
few times.
some point on a few episodes. But Chuck Jones came up with these rules. And here is a picture of the rules. And I'll read them to you now.
I bet I can guess there's going to be TNT and at least you have to have that.
Hold on. I got a sound effect for you.
Okay, I'm going to
because
guess a
of
couple
that.
more. I can't see and I have not seen this.
Okay.
Okay, now. What about you must run off a cliff, and if you run off a cliff, you can keep going. When you crash through a wall, it leaves a body-sized hole instead of a round hole. Okay, keep going.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Rule number 1, the Roadrunner cannot harm the coyote except by going beep beep. In other words, the Roadrunner he's a pacifist,
Oh.
right? So now he can get it behind Wile E. Coyote and say beep beep, and Wile E. Coyote jumps, hits his head that's fine.
Oh.
He can do, but he cannot harm. No outside force can harm the coyote, only his own ineptitude or the failure of the Acme products. Rule 3, the coyote could stop any time if he were not a fanatic. Repeat, a fanatic is one who redoubles his effort when he has forgotten his aim. Rule 4, no dialogue ever except beep beep. Now that apparently was one rule that might have been broken. I think Wile E. Coyote once said something.
Chat room, find that.
Yeah. Rule number 5, the Roadrunner must stay on the road. Otherwise, logically, he would not be called a Roadrunner. I don't agree with that because we got Roadrunners here in Texas, and I saw one last weekend in Georgetown.
I will top that. I've had a Roadrunner in my kitchen, in the kitchen window.
Oh my God.
It came in the house one summer, and I walked in. My entire family's out at the pool, and I went in to get more lemonade or iced tea or whatever. And I come in, and there's just a Roadrunner. It's about this big. They're actually quite big, and he's in the kitchen window inside above the kitchen sink. And
My God.
I just poured my lemonade and went back outside, and I said, "There's a Roadrunner in the kitchen," and then
What happened?
let my dad deal with it.
Oh, your dad.
Yeah.
Daddy took care of it. Did he kill it?
No, I just put it back outside.
You,
Like a little chicken.
I remember one time you showed me a video that you took of a bird that got into that your cat, I guess, brought into your house.
Yes, Bat brought a bird in, and I saved it. And I was very excited because I got to hold a bird.
But the video is you had the bird. I think it was sitting on a piece of your furniture or something.
Yes.
I don't know if this is where we're different. My instinct would be to quickly as possible get the bird out.
See, I want to
of
look at
my
a bird
house.
up close. Any kind
But
of
you don't-
animals, I like to look at them up close.
But you
'Cause
don't
never
know-
get to.
Is that clean? Is it safe to
I
do?
sanitized everything, and I only handled it with, paper towels until it was in my hand. And I was like, well, that hand's dirty now. And then I just let it go out into the world.
But it
with
was
my
very
hand.
peaceful in the video. It just
It
was sitting there.
And then it perched on my hand for a very long time and kind of was saying, like, thanks for rescuing me from that demon cat.
Rule number 6. All action must be confined to the natural environment of the two characters, which is the Southwest American desert, very close by here. Rule 7, all materials, tools, weapons, or mechanical conveniences must be obtained from the Acme Corporation. Rule 8, whenever possible, make gravity the coyote's greatest enemy. And Rule 9, the coyote is always more humiliated than harmed by his failures.
I like those rules.
Good rules. I
Mhm.
wonder, they purported to be real, but we don't know. I'll tell you something that is real. This desk that I'm sitting at, actually not this desk, but the two that we have out there, they're real, and they were wonderful, wonderful desks that come from the Human Solution, one of the largest ergonomic office furniture dealers in the country. They make this really awesome desk called the Uplift desk. It is, in our case, we get the L-shaped one with a sort of a natural wood finish on it, very
Yes.
durable.
Was it cherry or?
Sure.
I think
Why
it's
not?
cherry.
I say yes. And it's an amazing desk. What makes them very special, hence name Uplift, right? They're a sit-stand desk so that you set them so that you're sitting comfortably and you hit a button and it goes right up to the height that you set. And it's all electronic, super, super well made, very strong legs that can support thousands, if not tens of thousands of pounds.
Really?
Small elephant could be lifted right up to the ceiling.
Or a large teacup pig.
A very large pig. And title.
Very large pig.
And so anyway, these things are fantastic. They're headquartered and made here in Austin, Texas by certified professional ergonomists. We decided yesterday that's how you say that. So anyway, go check these folks out. The company is thehumansolution.com. Thehumansolution.com. I highly recommend sitting. In fact, Hadley, I think the only time that I sit throughout the course of a day is to do this show. I sit here at the host's desk. And so that's how what I do. I stand. But when I want to sit down, if I want to take a break and sit down, I hit a button on the desk. Boom. Down. Up.
Easy.
That's it. Hit a button. And it remembers the position. It's not like one of those crank ones.
Yeah,
You
it's,
hit
just
it,
it's memory.
memory. You have multiple positions. Changing positions. Standing and changing positions while you work burn up to 40% more calories than sitting on your butt all day. Thehumansolution.com. Check out the Uplift desk. They ship anywhere. They'll ship you anywhere. In Guam, they'll ship to you. They don't care.
I still love those. They do like a reclaimed wood, and they do bamboo tops, and then it's really cool. They're awesome.
It is really cool. Now back to the Acme. This is why I bring this up, Hattie. Look at this. This dude over Rob Lakota. Is that how you say that?
I can't
How
read
do you say that? Rob Lakota?
Spell it.
What's your name, dude?
Doesn't matter. Fringe Focus is his site. And he did this Acme Corporation poster that featured every single Acme device or contraption, car, vehicle, whatever, in one place. But it sold out. It all sold out. Which is terrible. So why am I telling you guys about it? Because he came out with a second thing. Detailed individual prints of Acme Corporation items.
What?
So you can get individual prints. You can get the famous anvil. You can get the TNT that Hattie was talking about. You can get the high-speed tonic, the giant Acme magnet, the tornado kit in a box, the unicycle with the rockets on it. He did
awesome.
126 drawings of explosive gadgets, rockets, and more. And he says, I have watched every Coyote and Roadrunner episode and then hand drew all 126 wacky gadgets, explosives, and items that appeared in the cartoons. And he raised $105,000 on Kickstarter for that big project. And then it did very, 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 very well and sold out. So then he started doing these individual ones, which he calls Acme inventory prints. And look at these things framed. They just look gorgeous. And I've got to get a handful of these things. I mean, imagine you could walk in and there's, three or four of these on the wall. They're not free. Unfortunately, they're not free, but there are a lot of these are limited edition. And some of them are more than half sold out. $30 for one print, $25 each for two prints or more. And you can get one of these frames for $40 each. Three prints for 3 frames is $180. He frames it for you, and if you look at this picture, the frame is amazing as well and has a little label saying what it is on the frame. So get these things. They're really, really cool. Some people in the chat room are commenting that there is a balance board that you can put so that you're standing on your desk. When you're at your standing desk, it now forces you to balance.
It's
So
not one
you're
of
at-
those things where it's like where it's just a roller in the middle and then it's just a board.
Yeah, it's-
Remember when those things were
yeah,
really popular?
I remember those things.
I'd break my ankle if I got on one of those.
I'll add this to the show notes. And again, you can see the show notes by going to 5by5.tv/dbh/7. And it's called The Level. It's a balance board for standing desk users. It is not a ball. It's a little more rugged. It looks like a surfboard or a skateboard without
I'm
the
looking
wheels.
at it. It's loading.
So yeah, so you can go check that thing out if you want to even further make it difficult for you to stand. But that's it. That's all we got. And you know what, Hattie? I can't believe this, but we're right at 60 minutes. I can't believe it. We're right at 60. We're right at 60 minutes.
That's
right
ridiculous.
Now. We did it. I got an even better one for that. Okay.
Good. I was hoping you would.
You want me to use
that
that
one? Yeah.
Okay. So that's it. So there's your hour, folks. Thanks very much for being here. I would love it if you could rate the show. Every time that I ask you guys to do it, people do it. And that's incredibly, incredibly important in helping this show grow. The best way that we can get new listeners and we can improve everything that we're doing, we can continue to get great guests and spend so much time in production, pre and post production of this show, is if you help us out. And the best way to do that is to subscribe in iTunes if you can, but of course rate the show in iTunes. Go in, click, Heidi, honestly, this is a 5-star show.
I think so.
This is the 5-star show. There's no question about it. So go give us a 5-star rating. But, subscribing and rating the show, that's what helps it stay out there in the public eye enough so that new folks will find it and therefore rate it. And find it and rate it and find it and rate it. It becomes a
cycle.
Yeah, like a catch-22. Anyway, thank you very much if you have already rated the show. Thank you for listening to the show. You can tune in live. We started a little bit earlier than normal. Not as early as I want. We're slowly moving to 4 p.m. Eastern time because I've heard from a lot of folks who are listening that they want to listen to it on their commute and they can't always listen live. But if the thing were like released by 5 o'clock or even 6 o'clock their time, they might have an easier time listening to it. Also, it means that the video's out. I have to tell you, I love this. Thank you to everyone who does this. If you're watching this show on video and you can subscribe to it and watch it on your Apple TV, or watch it on your iPad, send it to your Apple TV, however you're watching this thing, people keep sending me these pictures of how they watch, and they'll show it up on their TV, and they'll show what they're. That is the coolest thing. It's amazing, right? It's the coolest thing in the whole world. So send me a photo of how you consume the show. Maybe we'll send you a magnet. Who knows?
Who knows?
So anyway, that is all we've got for you today. And of course, if you want to do something to really help the show, you really serious? You're a super fan? Go to patreon.com/5x5. Give us $1, give us $10, give us $1,000, give us $100,000, whatever you'd like. But even $1 would be a lot, and we appreciate it. And that's all we've got for you today. We will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Central. We'll be live at dbh.fm, where you can watch and listen as we record this show live behind the scenes with all 4 cameras. Love it if you did that. And until then, have a great day. I was going to talk more during the show about
what?
About the setup in here.
Oh, and the HVAC.
We're still streaming it, and so people who are listening live will see this, but it's not going to be in the audio part of the show.
Only the video.
I'm okay. I'm feeling okay with that.
Me too.
The people want to see that. So here's a shot of the whole room. Well, right over there, you see this tiny little rack. Hattie, could you please
Vanna White
the rack? Excellent. That is the rack. We are going to be replacing that with a rack that's about maybe another twice as tall as that one. Not quite a full size rack. That'll give us some expansion room. Thank you, Annie. We'll be able to put some additional hardware in there that'll help us with the sound, so that our guests can sound even a little bit better. And we'll get everything out of the way off the floor. We're consolidating machines. And by the way, we need some machines. I should have said this during the show, so maybe I'll say it tomorrow. But we need some machines, and it's I guess 1, 2, 4 in that room, 5, 6. We need about 2 more Mac Minis.
Yes.
That's what we need. And the Mac Minis are crucial for recording guests and for recording the show, for streaming the show, things like that. If you have an older Mac Mini, it has to be Intel, but if you have an older Mac Mini, by all means, let me know if you want to sell it cheaply, or even if it's just collecting dust on your shelf and you want to donate it. Let me know. We could use one or more of those things. So that is what we need. If you have one that's collecting dust, let us give it some life, and in return, we'll send you mugs. We'll send you magnets, T-shirts. Hattie will come and have dinner with you in your town. Whatever you want, you name it, we'll make something happen. And that's it. So I don't know. That's it. We're doing that. The screens are here, and tomorrow. Dang it. She's
You'll
yawning
never,
again.
Ever catch me.
I think I will catch you in a yawn. It'll be a huge yawn, and I'll put it on repeat, and I'll open every show with it.
Where it's just me going,
Yep. So I've got some desks. I got some screens that are going to be here on the desk. They're on these special mounts so that I can actually see everything and not have to keep looking over here and running another screen. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Anyway, I think that is it, and I'm going to go and try and get this thing done. So thanks to everybody who tuned in today, and we'll be back tomorrow. Have a good one.